You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 6th day of June, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first broadcast is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. Now, the afternoon broadcast, this one is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, if you have not taken the 1-week free trial, which gives you access to everything our passport holders have access to, go to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a link that says 5-day free trial. No credit card required. Just click the link, fill out the registration form, hit submit. And in most cases, same day, we'll get your desktop set up, get your indicators indicating, and then your trial will start the following trading day. Now, it doesn't matter what day of the week or weekend or hour of the day that you sign up for the trial. You'll get 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend. With today being Thursday, you might think, well, I should wait till Monday. Oh no, today would be a great day because you'll be in the live training room tomorrow morning. You'll kind of get a feel for the indicators. And then because some markets never sleep, you can work with them over the weekend. And then you'll be ready to hit the ground running next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So really that turns a 5-day trial into a 7-day trial. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast. As I said, this one's open to the public. There's a couple different ways to join this broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says Afternoon Broadcast. Click that link. Fill out that 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will obviously be days when you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but maybe you still want to join live. Or there may be days when you're just busy, can't join live, but want to catch up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember, youtube.com/CFRN. You've already got the YouTube part memorized, so you really only have to remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,500 daily episodes archived, for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Just pick some days at random, watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, pick another day, do the same thing. You'll discover the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity woven through each and every daily episode and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. We'll open with our daily devotional and a word of prayer. Then we'll get into the markets. Then about 12:45, 12:50, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll go live on the TradingView platform for a half an hour, do some live trading, and then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. The topic of the devotion this week is passion. Our scripture today is 1 Corinthians 13, verses 3 through 7, and I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. If I give everything I own to the poor, and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but I don't love, I've gotten nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut, doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others, isn't always me first, doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything, trusts God always, always look for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. That was 1 Corinthians 13, verses 3 through 7 from the Message translation. So, love is never jealous. Yet the Bible reminds us over and over again that the very God who created us is a jealous God. Exodus 34:14 says, "You must worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you." God is envious of the spouse you're seeking completion from, the career you're seeking affirmation from, and the money you're seeking happiness from. On their own, marriages, jobs, and wealth are not bad things. But when we make them an idol, we allow things to take the throne in our lives reserved solely for Christ. He's the only one who can complete us, affirm our identity, and make us happy. Does God want us to enjoy life? Absolutely. Does he have our best interests at heart? Most definitely. And that's why he's clear that there should be no other gods before him. Sounds a bit selfish, right? Maybe a little legalistic and strict. Not when you consider his unmatched sacrifice for us. One look at the cross and the word selfless comes to mind. The truth is, God pursues his children with fervency, and he doesn't want anything or anyone standing in the way. Far too often, we allow even good gifts to fill the space in between us and our Heavenly Father, elevating our careers, our families, our dreams, our talents, and our passions above Christ Himself. God made man and creation for His glory and His glory alone. Everything we do, from the way we love one another to the way we use our talents and gifts, ultimately serves to honor and glorify Him. Despite our selfish tendencies, we are His greatest treasure. Yes, He wants us for Himself, and He proves it with His unending, lavish love. If His grace is an ocean, we're all sinking. There is a place in our hearts reserved only for the King. He will not stand for anyone or anything else to assume His position in our lives. But when we feel the intoxicating wind of His forgiveness and let His unfathomable grace wash over us, in gratitude, we give Him the crown. May we all drown in His extravagant love. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before You with hearts full of gratitude for Your word that guides and inspires us. In the scripture we shared today, we're reminded of the true essence of love. Lord, teach us to love as You have loved us. Help us to embody the qualities of love, patience, kindness, humility, and selflessness. May we not be easily angered or keep records of wrongs. Instead, let us rejoice in the truth and protect, trust, hope, and persevere in all things. Fill our hearts with Your love so that our actions, words, and thoughts reflect Your divine nature. May our love be a testament to Your presence in our lives and a light to those around us. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray, and everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Speaking of Thursday, tonight is our members-only workshop. Now, I'm going to show up. Michael has something that's come up. He won't be able to be there. So I'll open it up. If anybody has any questions for me, have them ready. And so tonight will most likely be a very brief workshop. And then we'll get back to our regular schedule next week. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Started here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow is at 34 points. The NASDAQ is down 23. S&P 500 is down 5.5. The Russell 2000 down almost 10. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $1.52, trading 75.99 last. That's a gain of 2%. Gold up $16.60, trading 23.92 last. Silver up $1.10, trading 31.19 last. That's a gain of 3.75%. In the Asian markets at the close, now let me just back up. Silver up $1.27. I'm sorry, $1.12. When silver moves $1 in either direction, the price of silver, that's worth $5,000 per futures contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 213 points. Shanghai fell 16. Hang Seng gained 51. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 38, DAX up 76, the CAC up 33. So we had a mixed day in Asia, a green day in the UK, and it's a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. We got 3 of the major indices in the red, and the Dow is only in the green by 21 points. I mean, that's just enough to get your goal for the day, just as a point of reference. So, do I suspect the other 3 will reverse and follow the Dow? Probably not. I would say that the odds are the Dow will end up following the 3 in the red, but got to embrace all possibilities, so we'll just have to be patient and see how it plays out. Okay, the global bond market lost steam after notching its longest winning run in 2024 as the European Central Bank raised its inflation forecast after delivering a widely expected rate cut. In a historic move that saw the ECB slashing borrowing costs ahead of the Federal Reserve, officials led by Christine Lagarde said that while the inflation outlook has improved markedly, they'll keep policy rates sufficiently restrictive for as long as necessary. The remarks were enough to lift bond yields across the board, with treasuries also joining the move as traders positioned for tomorrow's U.S. payroll data. That'll be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. You want to be flat. Banks are ramping up investments in a complex part of the mortgage bond market that offers shorter-term securities as they cope with the growing risk of their losing deposits amid high rates. Demand from banks is fueling sales of floating rate collateralized mortgage obligations, which are constructed from simpler mortgage securities. Overall, there were $25 billion of new CMO sales in April, the highest monthly figure in nearly 3 years. Didn't we just do this some years back under a different name? Maybe it's different this time. That represented as much as 30% of all MBS that month, the largest since 2014, according to Bloomberg. Analysts and market participants say banks have been a major driver of the increase. The CMO machine is revving up, according to a strategist at Robert Baird & Company, who focuses on mortgages. Since the Federal Reserve started raising interest rates in 2022, banks have had a harder time hanging on to deposits. Higher rates translate to stronger returns on competing instruments, such as money market funds, and many depositors pulled money out of banks and plunged it into other higher returning markets. While banks have taken steps to retain deposits, primarily by paying higher rates, they are also reworking the asset side of their balance sheet by cutting holdings of longer-term bonds and boosting investments in shorter-term securities. The implosion of several regional lenders last year has also made banks acutely sensitive to the risk of owning longer-term debt. There are around 800 billion of CMOs outstanding. The share of new CMOs that have floating rates or backed by Ginnie Mae has been hovering around the highest level in years, according to Oppenheimer & Company. Banks tend to prefer CMOs tied to Ginnie Mae, a guarantor of mortgage bonds that is a part of the U.S. government. Unlike the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation, Ginnie Mae is actually a government agency. Bank regulators assign those product risk weights of 0, and that's not expected to change under upcoming rules known as Basel III Endgame. And if I just didn't read you a recipe for disaster, I don't know what it was I read you, because it walks like a disaster. It smells like a disaster. I just pray it's not a disaster. Okay, moving on. Logic 247. It's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're currently in week 305. Over the last 305 weeks, I see where the problem is. Mine and Valerie's screen resolution is different, so sometimes it doesn't lay out right. There we go. Over the last 305 weeks, we've issued over 16,850 individual handcrafted alerts. We've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Since the markets opened Sunday night, we've issued a total of 43 alerts this week. Now, this is all as of 8 a.m. this morning. I haven't added any additional alerts. One never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 11. So we're talking 31 actionable alerts this week, of which 3 or 10% would have been stopped out based on market structure. And that simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. With the logic alerts, you get an entry, initial target, good for your goal for the day, and then often 2, 3, 4, 5 additional targets, and then a final trade to target. The purpose of the logic alerts are to help you to learn how to read the chart and find windows of opportunity yourself. If you want to learn how to trade for a living, that'll never happen as long as you're dependent upon someone else to tell you when to get in and when to get out. You need to learn how to read the chart and understand what it's telling you. That is the purpose of the logic alerts. Now, 305 weeks is a very long time. But long before we had Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now, unlike logic alerts, which can come out around the clock, the CTAs are posted shortly after the Globex Open each evening. We're in the Thursday session, but the Thursday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. 10 minutes after the open, I published all these targets for our members and trial members. What you should do when this report comes out, go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you actually trade and make a note where price was at the time the report was published. Then on your 30-minute chart, draw a line in the sand at the long target, a line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. Price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. Price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. Pretty simple. BBC is the green line you see on all my charts. Stands for bull bear cross. If price crosses above the green line, then we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. If price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. Now, it's always relative to whatever time frame you're using the BBC on. Daily, weekly, monthly, 5-minute tick chart, range chart. But all the alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. There's nothing magical about a 30-minute chart. It's just the time frame I chose years ago, and I stayed with it. Now, with the logic alerts, you get all those additional targets I talked about. With the CTAs, you start learning to look left yourself. Previous swing highs and swing lows that can become current resistance or support. You'll also learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. It's important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon, if price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone above. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Published the zones since December 14th of 2009. Closing in on 15 years. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published for the week, they are carved in stone. They do not change in any way whatsoever. And again, all of our members and trial members had all of these targets last night at 6:10, 10 minutes after the open. So let's take a look at the daily chart. Big things going on there. See if we can get it to open up right. Yeah, there we go. Okay. The all-time historic high, 53.68 and a quarter. Today we hit 53.73 and a quarter. So we have a new all-time historic high. Now, yesterday's close was identical to, see, 53.68 and a quarter. $53.68 and a quarter. So this morning we punched just a little bit higher. As you know, we're always suspicious of a little bit higher. And as you can see, we've got a tiny candle, but it is red. We've got potential support here at the step line, at blue and climbing, and the BBC. But we'll see if we can adjust this and line it up. See, we got the 72.75. High 73 and a quarter. So we're 2 ticks off. So for daily chart, that's pretty good. Now, we also have to move this up just a tad to also embrace the new high. Remember, these are the fibs of the last leg up. These are the fibs of the entire move. We have Bloomberg's double top in place. First, we had my bearish engulfing, which took us all the way down to the 38% fib retracement. Now we got the old Bloomberg double top. They say that's the most bearish signal there is. So we'll see where we end up. Watching the close yesterday at exactly to the tick of the previous close was quite interesting. Interesting that no one out there was willing to pay one more tick. But once the new session opened, somebody was brave enough, but not by much. And we're always suspicious of not by much. Now, I'm showing you a daily chart because institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why is that? It has to do with account size. It has to do with account size. They trade in such size that they literally move price because of the size they trade in. So if you'll learn to spend 2 minutes with whatever you trade before you start trading, you're literally looking over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. So while there was a little buying early going in the session, not now, price is coming off. So when you can see what the deep pockets that move price are doing, all you have to do is just simply do what they're doing long enough to get your goal for the day. So whether it's futures or stocks or crypto or Forex or ETF, if you'll learn to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you start trading, you'll see your trading results change over time. Now, hang on for a second because I've got a hitch in my giddy up. I'll get it straightened out pretty quick. Just give me a second. Things got all out of whack on me. But it's easily fixed. Almost there. There'll still be some fixing I have to do, but we'll do the best we can. Okay. Hey, I got it. Yep. Okay. So let's try it again. Okay. So 2 minutes with the daily chart, then drop to your smaller time frames. On the ES, as you can see, we're dropping. We hit this weekly zone. We consolidated overnight. The vertical line separates today, Thursday, from Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Now, I normally have this all done ahead of time, but these are the targets I just showed you. And on the ES, we failed to hit the long target. The market tried, but it was unable See? See these wicks, how price just kept getting slapped down off this. We got a double top, this candle here and this candle here. So we basically have a double top on the daily and even here right now on the 30-minute. And hopefully it's pretty obvious to everyone where price is headed. Well, number one, the target, and number two, the zone. Remember, price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. Now, I erroneously posted yesterday that we had hit the highest weekly trading zone, and thanks, Stefan, for pointing out to me that we still had one way up there. But when we hit a zone, when we rally up to a zone, we expect resistance. When we drop to a zone, we expect support. 70% of the time when price encounters a zone, you'll get consolidation. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. So we got all these hours of consolidation. It wasn't until we didn't come out of that consolidation until like 11 o'clock this morning. I mean, that is one flat market. But now it's showing its true colors. Remember, we expect a drop to the step line initially, which it looks like is at 53.24 half. Okay. And 53.24 half is about right there. Okay. So it may not all happen today. It may take today and tomorrow. We got some important numbers tomorrow morning that could potentially reverse the market. We'll see. Okay, on the Dow. We did manage to hit the long target. But we did not hit the short target yet. Remember, the Dow was the only one positive when I gave you the numbers from around the world. So, price off the 930 open, rallied up to the weekly zone. And again, when price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Right now, we're sitting on top of the BBC, which is support. Pullback holds more often than it doesn't. We'll see if this pullback can hold, because the other markets are dropping, or at least the ES so far. Russell, 2073 was the long target, but we would need to see price get above blue and climbing, above red and falling, before we would consider trading to it. So, red and falling walk price down to the zone. Now, as you can see, pullback holds more often than not. But we know that eventually it will trade through. And right here it did, to the zone. And then it consolidated for hours. Then it reached up and found resistance. Sent it back down. And then again, the pullback held. Pullback held. This pullback held. And now we've reached the short target. Remember, when price is above the BBC, you're thinking long. Below the green line, you're thinking short. So this is where you start thinking short. But you got an obstacle right in front of you, the zone. And over here, you got an obstacle right overhead. It's called the CFMA1. I refer to it as blue and climbing, red and falling. Plus, yesterday afternoon, see how the step line crossed to the right side of blue and climbing? that tells us we're going to get a pullback to the BBC. So we wait for the pullback, and then we wait to see if it holds or not. And in this case, it did not. So we got a leg and a retracement, 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 and a leg. So if we trade through the target, then anticipate a drop down to the next weekly zone. Remember, price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. On the NQ, came real close to the long target, but no bueno. And we're far from the short target. However, if price takes out this low right here and this low right here, then we will most likely drop quickly to this low and then the zone. Now the market could find support here. It did earlier today. When the market finds support, see these, see this? That became that support. It sent us back to the VBC, which was resistance. See, from above the pullback, we found support. But from below, when we pull up, we find resistance. Until proven otherwise. So we got a nice long way to drop to that short target. But you gotta wait for a break of that low and that low. And from about 19, call it 1900 down to 18,960. That's 40 points, $20 a point, $800 per contract traded. But before that can happen, got to break this low, got to break this low. Crude oil. Now we almost made it to the lowest weekly trading zone earlier in the week. See how close we came? But we didn't quite get there. Okay. So here's where we open. Did our best to get to the long target. We finally hit it, pulled back to the BBC, hit it again, pulled back to the BBC, hit it again, pulled back to the BBC, and at 11 o'clock, market took off. And remember, price is always trying to get to a weekly zone. Price is above the 30-minute BBC, the green line, is trying to get to the zone above. Price is below the 30-minute BBC. It's trying to get to the zone below. Above, below. Okay? And there's that green line. Bull bear cross. Bullish above it, bearish. See, like on this pullback, it spiked it, but it held. See how both candles are still touching the green line? That means it held. Okay. You gotta wait for a candle to open and close to know for sure that it held. That's your confirmation candle right there. On gold. 2381 is the long target, and 2360 is the short target. So here's where we opened last night, above the BBC, so we expect higher prices. Once we got above blue and climbing and the step line and took out this high at 2377.7, So let's say you go long at 23.79. $200 to the target per contract traded. And then it continued to the zone, which we expect to be resistance till proven otherwise. It was resistance, sent price back to the BBC. Now, this low right here was formed yesterday. See all these lows across here? Support will always send the market looking for resistance. So it ran back up to the zone. And the zone is 2392/93. And when you see wicks like that to the top side, you got buyers trying to take price higher, but it's not sticking. That's a sign of weakness. Now, once this black step line crosses blue and climbing, then you expect a retracement back to the BBC. Right below the BBC, you've got a bullish cross as potential support. You got potential support here, here, and then down to the zone. Could things turn around and take off to the upside? Yep, it could happen. There's still one more weekly zone overhead at 49. 2449/24. If the news is good tomorrow, who knows? We might even hit it. Silver. $30.22 is the long target published last night. With silver, you only need 2 pennies. Get your goal for the day. So here's where we open. Had resistance overhead, so we just consolidated at the zone. And then we finally popped up and hit it and continued right to the zone to the tick. Resistance sends us back to the BBC. The pullback held, even though we spiked it, it held. And it took us back up to the zone where we found resistance previously, and then to the next zone. And we got one more zone. No, we got 2 more zones overhead. 32.48 and $35. So what's price trying to do right now? It's trying to get to the zone overhead. Price is always trying to get to a weekly zone. If you're above the BBC on the 30-minute, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. When you're below, it's trying to get to the zone below. Does it always make it? No. But at least you know what it's trying to do. See here, you knew it was trying to get to the zone overhead, and then it consolidated for a lot of hours. All yesterday afternoon into last night about 8:30. And it finally took off. Okay, and last but not least, the euro. Michael should be here. Michael, if you're there, I haven't heard you. All right, so this was the open last night. We overcame the zone and ran right at the target. Resistance, which was formed yesterday, sent us back to support at the zone. We spiked below the zone to this low right here. Buyers then came in and drove us back up to the target. And since then, we've been doing wide-ranging consolidation at the zone. And here's one last look at the daily. Last leg up. Major support at 53.24.75. It's right there for you. 53.24. That's the step line. Then blue and climbing. Then the BBC. And the 24% fib. Price drops faster than it rises because it takes financial commitment for price to rise. But for price to fall, all that has to happen is for the institutional traders to hit pause on the buy side. All right, let me go see if I can find Michael. There he is.
Okay,
There he is.
All right.
Okay.
And take it right over here.
All right. Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, and then we'll go live on TradingView for 30 minutes, and then I'll wrap things up with a good word for the day.
All right, here we go.
Looks good.
Good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 6th day of June, 2024, 6/6/2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com, and right here is the purple button. Click on that. All right, there's no credit card required when you take a trial. Click on the purple button, and it's going to bring you to, let's just click it. It's going to bring you to this page. This page will be refreshed tomorrow, but it's going to bring you to this page. Tomorrow I'll have all next week's dates in there. If you do sign up for the trial today, you get, the rest of today, tomorrow, and all of next week. But all we ask for is your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number. And down here at the bottom, if you have a NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID. And if you have TradingView, give us your login ID. Okay? Give us a little bit of information, and we'll be able to enable the indicators for you so you can get them indicating on your charts throughout your trial. This is not the right month. All right, here we are. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you're going to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 6th day of June, 2024. We made 74 ticks on the NQ, 39 ticks on the Russell. We lost 7 on the YM. That put us at $530 a contract this morning. Today, it took 10 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $2,340. It was 26 ticks on the Russell. That's where we were at per contract. And we took a total of 17 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $1,200 even over 4 business days, averaging $300 a day. On the year, we're at $41,690. It's over 106 business days, averaging $393 per day. Now, if we were to quit trading when we get the goal for the day following the 24/20 blueprint so far this year, whether you started this year or last year, if you started in January of this year with me and did things exactly like I did, you'd only had to work 37.41 hours, 37.5 hours roughly. If you added 1 contract a month after achieving the minimum, daily goal every day, you would be averaging $1,264 an hour at this point. If you started with me in January of last year and you added 1 contract a month, you'd be at 18 contracts now and be averaging $6,172 per hour so far this year. Okay. All right. Let's get into the trades. We had trades on everything except the ES today. We didn't have a single trade on the ES, but we'll go through the ones that we did get here on the YM and on the Russell and on the NQ. Let's go all the way back to the beginning here. All the way back to the beginning. Here we are. All right, so our first trade in here on the YM should have been a great big trade, but it was 2 ticks. We only got 2 ticks out of that nice move right there. Then the YM just kept going and going and going. None of the other marks were doing this when the YM was doing this. It was just going and going and going. We didn't get a trade again. I had shown this in here. I was saying if the YM achieves this from here, then we'd anticipate it's going to do it again from the next one, but it didn't even finish out. Now, that was a turning point this morning for the YM. Right there, well, for a while anyway, it was a turning point for the YM. Now again, we didn't trade this or any of the YMs in there for a little while until over here. We finally took a short trade in here and we stopped out. So that put us at -8. We were at +2. We had -10 on that trade, put us at -8. And then I get into the lesson plan. I ended up missing all of these nice trades here on the YM. Till we get all the way over here. On this one, I picked up 1 more tick, and that was it. That was all I traded on the YM. Let's see, during the break, there were some purple arrows in there. I don't see any blue arrows. A whole bunch of sideways movement here during the break. It did really, really, really quiet during the break. All right. On the Russell now, we'll go back to the beginning. We did get our goal for the day on the Russell after a few trades. It's right here in the beginning. Let's see. We started out here with the very first trade. We picked up 12 ticks. Now in this trade, it was a green arrow trade right here, right? And it pulled back down here when I entered. I entered in right about here. And then I got 12 ticks in profit. It did go all the way up there and then come back down. Right over here is right at the 12 ticks in profit. It came really close to giving me 30 ticks, but it didn't actually give me 30. So I ended up with 12 ticks on that. I missed that. Then I stopped out on this. So that put us down to 2 ticks. And then on this one right here, we got 24 ticks, bring us up to 26 overall. That's what we got the goal for the day. On this one right here, we got just a couple more to get us to 28. And then we have some odd numbers. On this one right here, we got 21 more ticks to get us up to 49. And then we stopped out on this one to get us down to 39. I should have had my stop at break even on that, but I didn't. And I believe that's all we did as far as gaining points. It is all we did. You know, all markets, they just kind of flattened out this afternoon. I'll get into the bigger picture stuff here in just a minute. Now, I didn't do anything with the ES. You can see in the ES, well, part of them I actually had the sensitivity set wrong. So it looked even worse than what it is right here. It looked even flatter than what it is. But I had the sensitivity set on 0.5 from a lesson plan yesterday, and it didn't offer up any trades this morning. So this is all during the break right here. If you wanted to trade coming out of this chop, you had a few opportunities here. And that was it. There's another one right here going on right now. This is a ribbon trade that's happening right now. But I have no desire to trade markets that are like that. The NQ, let's go all the way back here. Let me do it this way. Go all the way back to the beginning here on the NQ. Oops, I'm not paying attention to where it's going, am I? Totally got distracted. All right, there we go. Charts are loading, 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 loading. Here we go. Okay, on the NQ. Now, we had right here was our first opportunity on the NQ. We picked up 10 ticks on that one. All right, the next opportunity was right here. We picked up 30 on that to get us to 40. Then we picked up 8 there to get us to 48. Then we had a break even, another break even, then another 30 here to get us to 78. Somehow I messed this up and I took this, okay, I took this and I didn't take the green arrow. That's what it was. I took this one here and it stopped me out pretty much to the tick. And I went down to 58 from there. Okay, and moving forward, we got to here. Picked up 4 ticks there to get us to 62, and then 12 more ticks there to get us to 74. And that is where we ended it. Right, that's where we ended it. We didn't have, let's see. Yeah, there wasn't really much happening here during the break. It was really flat. A lot of purple arrows in there. And again, what the purple arrow represents is a pullback to the BBC, not into the BBC deep enough to hit the black line, where the outer band is the right color. It can happen in a no trade zone. It doesn't use the slingshot. So it can happen pretty much any time, as long as the outer band is the right color when it hits the ribbon and it doesn't pull deep into the ribbon. All right, that's what the purple arrow is. And so we had a few of those during the break, but we ended with plus 74 on the NQ this morning. It's a pretty good morning on the NQ, 74 ticks. All right. So we're about to start the, I'm going to get into the part here where let's go to YouTube right now. And I'm not sure I'm on the right ID, but it doesn't really matter. I'll be able to see it anyway. Here it is, YouTube by Emini. Okay, so we don't have any questions coming in YouTube, but as far as I'm concerned, we're starting the YouTube live stream right now. We don't really have a whole bunch to trade right here. As I just said a few minutes ago, the ES has a short off the ribbon right here, needs to put in a lower swing, has not done that. The NQ just gave this green arrow here, needs to put in a higher swing, has not done that. The YM outer bands are flat, it gave a green arrow short right here. If you took it, your stop should be a break even, so nothing else there. So that brings us to, let's go look at Bitcoin. All right, now look at Bitcoin today. This is the daily chart on Bitcoin right here. So we're down a little bit lower than the open right now on Bitcoin. We did make a move up toward yesterday's high. Didn't quite make it there. But we have, right now, if we were to go to a smaller time frame, like a 30-minute right here on the Bitcoin, you'll see it's not really looking like it's going to move all that much today. If it's going to move, it's down at the bottom right now of the day's action. It's at the bottom of the day's action. So if it is going to move, it'll probably move up from where it is. Okay. But it's just a whole bunch of nothing right here. Has been for the last couple of days. Right. And that is Bitcoin. Now in here, if we go out one more, look at the NQ. This is NQ on a 30 range using the target view trades with the new midpoint feature. Okay, showing you trades in the middle of the trend, that trigger in the middle of the trend. And I don't know if I must have the bias on this. I do. That's why it's only showing shorts right here. It's in a bearish look right now, showing only shorts. He's turning around a little bit right here, about to give a long trade, it looks like, but not quite there yet. I do have a whole bunch of alerts over here I set up to try to ensure that all the things are triggering the way that they should, and I don't think they actually are. So I have some more work to do on those before I release it to you guys. This is the TV Trades 11. The normal TV trades that you guys all have access to right now is right here. Okay, this is if I delete this one and I just go here to indicators, and I go to invite only and take this TV trades from right here. This is what you guys all have access to by default, right? And we'll show the arrows for shorts, and we'll put the mid-trend trade on there. Now the mid-trend trade is changing quite a bit from the way that it was to the way that it's going to be at the end of the week. It was just this little black arrow right here that let you know that that was a mid-trend trade. I did create an advance notice for that. If you go up here to the alert and you go in here and you use TV trades, the one on the bottom, there is a thing in here for the mid-trend trade sell alert and the mid-trend trade advance notice, but you almost never get that advance notice. All right, that's why I worked to create something that is going to give you a little more opportunity. You see these longer arrows right here? Those are also mid-trend trades, and they do give you an advance notice. You see that red arrow right there pointing down? That was, a bar ahead of time that you're likely to trade. All right, a bar ahead of time that you're likely to trade. And going in the opposite direction, it does the same thing in the opposite direction. See right here, the black arrow, a bar ahead of time that you're likely to get a trade. Black arrow, a bar ahead of time, a bar ahead of time, a bar ahead of time. So when that bar actually closes, it will trigger an alert that says, okay, if you have it turned on. It'll appear in the alerts. You have to actually turn that on. There's a whole bunch of things you can turn on in here. You can have the mid-trend trade buy advance notice, mid-trend trade sell advance notice, the regular buy advance notice, or regular sell advance notice. Those are the things that let you know a bar ahead of time that a trade is likely to trigger. Then you have the mid-trend trade sell, the regular sell, the mid-trend trade buy, and the regular buy. Like I say, I have two of these going in here. I'll have to work on that. But you have those options. Okay, that's coming up. I'll have that into production, enabled for everybody. It'll be out of this test version, the 1.1.1 version, into the regular TV trades by the end of the weekend, I believe. Okay. Let's go back here now. We still don't have a trade here, not yet. We need this to pull back down, test the ribbon. This did just barely put in a lower swing, just one tick lower, but it's in no trade zone again. Over here on the S, you can see it's not really painting all that well, so If it's not painting all the lines, you see how you get these lines inside the context like that? Just go to another time frame and then come back to the time frame that you were in. It'll usually repaint all that for you and put it in there properly. Okay. I'll bring up this question box. There are no questions for me in this box. And I don't see any questions in the live stream either. Now, I don't have Twitter on this computer, so I don't know if the Twitter feed is running right now. We were going to try to stream live on Twitter as well as trading as well as YouTube. All right, I wish it was still streaming on TradingView. That was a good captive audience we had over there. All right. Now on the NQ, we pulled back down and we're testing the ribbon right here. Testing the ribbon. We've got a low here of 66.75. 66.75. So we'll be looking for a buy of 70.75. 4 points above the bottom of the bar. Okay, this is what it looks like on my DOM right there. 4 points above the bottom of the bar is what I'm trying to buy right now. Okay, this is going to be a trade. Even if it doesn't come onto the oversold, it's still a valid trade because we have not hit the black line on the pullback. Right? If we hit the black line on the pullback, if it goes down another tick or two and it's a black line on the pullback, then it has to come onto the oversold to give us a green arrow. But right now, even if it doesn't come onto the oversold, it won't give us an arrow. There, now it did. Now it's going to give us a green arrow. It's got to come out of the oversold and give us a green arrow, but it's going to be 64.50 up to 68.50 now. Okay, 64.50 up to 68.50. If it does not pull out of the oversold, okay, now I'm just going to cancel it because it's pulled back really deep right here. Well, I gave the green arrow anyway. All right, so if it goes 8 ticks into profit like it just did, then it's too late to get into the trade. So I'm going to cancel my order. It's too late for me to get into this trade. It's already gone to the point where I would have moved the stop to break even had I gotten it. So give us a green arrow along over here perfectly. It's already gone to the point where I would have moved the stop to break even had I gotten into it, and I'd have just gotten on a break even or taken a little profit on that move. All right. What time is it? 1:08. So we have 22 minutes left in this session. Do you guys want to see anything? Anybody want to see anything else? I'm happy to go over anything that you want to look at. If you want to look at stocks or anything, options, Forex, crypto. The markets have really slowed down this afternoon. Really gotten slow. So I don't know. Just sideways action here. The outer bands are complete on these two indexes. There was one thing one of our guys, Matt, yesterday was texting me about. He's using the 1 minute on the NQ. I don't even know what that looks like. 1 minute on the NQ. And he's liking it. I don't know what he's doing, but he likes 1 minute on the NQ. I don't think I could do that. Don't think I could do that. It's so different. All right. Checking out all these things. Okay. None of that. It's good. Would I consider at this point the NQ making equal length move and take the short? All right. This NQ right here, you're talking about, James, right? This move right here, you mean? Now we have lower highs and lower lows. It's, you know, it's going into a no trade zone, so you're not going to have an official short right here. But if you were thinking that right here, it failed to continue the trend, put in that swing high. But look at this right here. Oops, I meant to do this. Look at this, the retracement right here. This pullback was perfect, right? To right here, but it failed to move up. It should have moved up from this retracement right here. But it put in the lower swing. Now you have lower highs and lower lows. So this is looking like it's going to work out well to the downside. If you did get a short here, and this might be the question you're asking, the way that I would have drawn this originally would have been from here to here, right? This is your leg length on the upside. And so I would redraw that from here to here, expecting that move to the upside. But since we didn't get that, this is what you would expect on the downside, right? Right down there. The thing that I suspect, though, is that by the time it gets out of the no trade zone right here, if it's going to go down coming out of the no trade zone, it's going to already be there. So then we'd have to do it again, and it would be something like this, down to here. Okay, and if you look left, there's support right down there too. Okay, when you think about this, think about it on the bigger time frame as well as the time frame we're on. Because if this were all on a bigger time frame, you'd be like this, down here, up here, down here, up here. It got a little bit higher right here on the pullback up, and now it should have the push back down and go through this level on a bigger time frame. But the no trade zone, yeah, the no trade zone is keeping you out of it anyway because it's all choppy in here. So on this time frame, it's keeping you out of it. But if you go up to a bigger time frame, this is what I was talking about. You know, right here, it's bouncing off the ribbon. It's giving a little bit of a long trade. You know, on the bigger time frame, you're looking at this right now, and this is still an appropriate pullback for that on the bigger time frame. Okay, it's a perfect pullback for that bigger time frame. But for the smaller time frame, it's this 30 tick range chart is a whole bunch of smaller 15 tick range charts bars in here. You know, this 30 tick range bar is a whole bunch of smaller 15 range bars. All these two right here, between 1310, 1311. Actually, these three. We'll say 1309 and 1311 on the 15 range. Between 1309 right here and 1311 right over here, there's a whole bunch of bars that fit into those three bars. So if you jump back here like I just did a second ago, this is a perfect 50% retracement of this leg down. So that said, that's where it should go on the upside. If it chooses to go up, that's where it should go. Okay, now we don't have any choice in where it's going to go, what direction it's going to go in, but we do have a choice in what direction we're going to trade in. And right there is where it should go, 19,100. Let's see. Yeah, so we've been above that already today. So not a big deal. That's what it looks like. So on the smaller time frame, we got to get out of the chop that we're in. It's got to reestablish the uptrend that it was in on a smaller time frame. Okay. That's what it looks like. So you had this long trade right here that we walked through a little bit. I missed the trade. If I would have gotten into it, I probably would have gotten a break even and taken a couple of ticks profit, maybe 4 ticks profit. But then I'd be out. I wouldn't be doing anything until it establishes an uptrend again. And to do that, it's going to have to get up above this level right here. Right after a green arrow, it's got to continue the trend. So on the upside, that's what it looks like it should do. I don't know if it's gonna, but you never know if it's gonna. Right. So probably none of that. I don't know if any of that was helpful to answer your question. Would I consider taking the short if it gave me a short? Gave me a reason to short it, I would. It's got a little ways to go to get to the downside. 19,035 is what it's looking like it wants to get down to. Okay, I just don't know how close it's going to get to that once it establishes the trend again. And right now, it is not established. I was looking over here. This is our YouTube. Nobody's asked any questions over here on YouTube yet. Okay. It's all good. Okay, so the YM. Let's give it a short here. You can see. Again, you don't really have a very strong trend going away here either. I'm not interested in that. None of these markets are really interesting right now. All right. Does anybody? Nothing. Let's go look at something else. Yeah, you know what we haven't looked at in here in a long time is Mr. I have no idea what that's doing now. And this is on a daily. Now this is a 30-minute. Okay, this is good on the 30-minute. All right, well, this last blue arrow figured all these targets. It's hit the first target here, looks like. What the heck? These, it's like it's triggering from this one and not this one over here. I think I may have something going wrong. But anyway, the first target it is showing is right here, 1686. Something's up with this. But the blue arrow should put in a higher swing. Let's back it out a little bit. I haven't really looked at this in a while. The last trigger that it gave was this blue arrow back here. The 6th of June, that's today, 10 o'clock today. And it hasn't really done anything since then. Shut that off, turn that back on, and recalculate. Looks like something's off on this. $17.14. Where's $17.14? Yeah, this is right. $17.14 over here. And then $17.18 should be right here. Nope. I guess $17.18 is further back over here. And that's where it is, right back there. $17.18. And then 40. That's what it's looking at. All right, well, that's Mr. So Mr's not really giving us anything to go with. What was the other one we looked at? Mara, that's what it was. Marathon Holdings. Let's get a long trade here. Is that from today? That's from 1300. So it's about to trigger this. When this bar closes here in 10 minutes, it'll have a green arrow long trade. That means it's pulled back enough to hit the black line. And we popped out of the oversold. You know, the last green arrow short was right here. arrow short there, blue arrow long there, blue arrow short there. So there's not a whole bunch of, on a 30-minute time frame, there's not a whole bunch of green arrows that trigger on these equities. If we were to break it down to a smaller time frame, down to a 5-minute, we had a couple of nice green arrows back here earlier. That was yesterday. These two earlier today. A couple of nice green arrows in there, and it looks like it's about to give a short trade in here on the 5-minute. So that's what Mara looks like. I don't know what this looks like if we have go out here, I'll put it on here. Mara. Let's try here. Mara, and what time frame is this? 30 range. So every bar is 30 cents. So we give a pretty good indication here this morning. A couple of them, one there and one there so far today. Actually, the short was on today too. That was yesterday. Give the short in there. Every indication is given in here has been pretty good so far. And STR. All right, it's $1,700. 30 range, 30-cent bars. They're not going to do it. $1,700. You need like 100 range or maybe 500 range. Every bar is $5. And did not get very many opportunities here. The last one was this. This was earlier today. This is on a 500 range. I gave a short in here earlier today. Along here, this one wouldn't have worked out. This one would have. This is all today's. No, that's yesterday. A couple of nice trades yesterday, and one so far today, and that's on the 500 range. So every bar is $5. If we break it down to every bar being $1, that's still pretty small for this. For a stock this size, every bar being $1. Do every bar being $10. It's 1,000 range. Every bar is $10. Okay. This is just today. So $10 there, about $20 there, and that would have been the stop out right there. So on this one, the stop would have been right on any mid-trend trade bar. The stop is going to be just below the bar that got you into the trade. So it would be like $10.50 is what the stop would be, something like that on this. Okay. If you want to use it on stocks. Let's go back in here. And we want this to get away from here. The outer bands are completely flat. Flat here, flat there, flat there. We're starting to get a little something here on the Russell. A little bit higher. The outer bands are spread out just a little bit. In the lesson plan today, I did quite a bit on the outer bands. I think I recorded it this morning. All right. I got nothing. 6 more minutes, and we might have a trade here on the NG. We might have a trade here on the Russell. Things are starting to move just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, but it's really, really slow right now. Okay. All right, and Stephen, you got your link for the meeting that we're going to be having coming up. Right. Shut that off. All right, we have a higher swing here. So I don't know on my phone. It truncates information on my phone. If I turn it sideways like this. So we need a pullback here, a pullback here, a pullback here. And we need this to actually trend around the YM. All right, just waiting for the pullback here, guys. About 3 more minutes of waiting. We may or may not get a trade, I don't know. But we'll wait for it. If you guys have questions, type them in. I can answer your questions all day long. Well, as much as I can, anyway. Within reason. Almost. There it is. It's pulling back over here on the NQ. NQ looks like it's going to be the only one that's going to actually do the pullback right now. They're all ready for a pullback. And if we go here and look at the bigger picture again, bring this bigger picture up again. This is the YM bouncing off the BBC, but it's gemmed up in between the BBC and the MA1 right here. And you have the weekly trading zone that's right on top of. Actually, that's not the weekly trading zone. That's an area I drew in this morning. But it's an area. That's the YM. Now the NQ is battling here. We had the bearish cross of the MA1, the BBC right there, and it's been battling this area all morning. Okay. And the Russell went down. I highlighted this area this morning saying this is where I expect the Russell to go down to. It's gotten down to it. Now it's bouncing back up. Now, I don't know that this bounce back up on the Russell is going to stick. You know, I was saying on the upside, it needs to get through this to really get anything going up there. It needs to get through that, but it hasn't done that. And on this, it got down to here where I thought it was going to bounce, and it's bouncing, and it's already hit the BBC once after the cross. It's already hit the BBC once and got rejected. I don't know if it's going to make it all the way up there to get rejected again. It might get rejected right here at the MA1. Right? The ES is getting rejected, currently getting rejected by the BBC right now. This is the area I thought that was going to go down to before it pulled back up. So they're all really questionable spots. You know, the NQ just gave that green arrow long right there. I'm trying to enter and it just filled me at 79.75. Okay, so I'm along 79.75. My stop should be 5 points away. It is. Right. It's not the greatest entry, but we're going to go with it. It should get up here to the prior swing high. That's what it should do. And we'll see what it does. We need 8 ticks in profit, so it's going to get up to 81.75 to bump that stop. Right, 81.75. And just about got there on that move, did it? 81.75. Yeah, I should have bumped my stop to break even on that. Well, I'll bump it when I get a chance here. If I get a chance. We should get a chance. It's bouncing off the BBC right now, so we should have another shot at it. There you go. Stop to break even, and it should get up to right up here. I just saw a number appear at 83.50, 83.75. Should get up there. There it is right there, 83.75. That's what it should get up to. Right there. But I'm out of it, and I'm also out of time. So I guess with that, I can pass it back out to the fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. And it looks like Dwayne is
I am. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 10 minutes and 3 trades to get to $2,340.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, we got through all the markets already. We'll take one more peek here at the daily. Okay, we're off the low of the day. We're also off the high of the day. It's got a little red speck there. After a wide-ranging day like yesterday, it's not unusual to have a small range day consolidation. We're consolidating just below the new all-time historic high. Now again, previous all-time high was 53.68 and a quarter. Now it's 73 and a quarter. So by 5 points, we have a new all-time historic high. Grand scheme of things, that's not much. So I would be cautious on anything on the long side until either cleanly break through here, or the most likely scenario, the most logical scenario, is that price will come down, perhaps find support at the step line, or blue and climbing, or the BBC, or the 24% fib retracement. See, the ES just consolidated. Look at how many hours from 2 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. this morning. Just consolidation at the zone. These are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Dow got red and falling overhead, and the BBC support, that's resistance. We did run up and hit the target, and we did get to the zone overhead, which we expect to be resistance. Just like over here, when we drop to the zone, we expect that to be support. Support until proven otherwise. Again, once the zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, they don't change all week long. Not any whatsoever. Russell found support. It actually spiked the target just a little bit to this area right here. So we've had numerous pullbacks to the BBC. There's one, there's two. They both held because they're still touching the BBC. See, this was a green candle all the way up. By the time the 30 minutes was up, this is what it looked like. This was green all the way up. But by the time the 30 minutes period was up, that's what it looked like. And then a leg, a retracement. And on this retracement, we were unable to get all the way back to the BBC. So when this candle opened, you just saw a sign of weakness, and bang, right down to the target. ENQ, not much has changed since we looked at it earlier. Price is above the BBC, so it looks like it's going to attempt to go higher one more time. But that's also how it looked on this candle, and this candle, and this candle. So don't get your hopes up. Crude still consolidating at the weekly zone, 75.65/75.70. Been consolidating now for 1, 2.5 hours. Whenever price rallies up to a zone, expect resistance until proven otherwise. Gold again. Zone resistance, zone resistance. And then support came in from these lows put in yesterday and last night. Okay, spiked it a little bit. Heading into the open, and then resistance at the zone. 2392/93. Spiked it a little bit, but you see where we are. Now, see how that step line is hooked right? About to cross blue and climbing? That tells us that price is most likely to pull back to the BBC. Then the question becomes, does it hold? We know it holds more often than not. Eventually, it will trade through. So, you don't know until it gets there and until that 30-minute candle is done. Silver still trying to climb higher, but look at the step line. It's hooked to the right. Once it crosses blue and climbing, anticipate a retracement back to the BBC. Euro hit the zone, almost made it to the short target. These lows right here. That kept us in check, kept us from getting there. We're putting in a nice doji. See, after a down move and then a doji like that, this is exactly what you expect. That is technical analysis 101. Now, why did price stop here? Well, this is Thursday. This is Wednesday. This is Tuesday. On Tuesday, we had a bearish cross. I've got the ribbon on here, so normally the green line. See, on all my other charts, it's a green line. I need to fix this one because my Euro chart got messed up the other day. But you can see where what would have normally been the green line got below the red line. And that's a bearish cross. And so when you have a bearish cross, that leads to an extended move, as this one did. First time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance the first time up. And boy, was it. Now see, that's stretching back over 2 days. That happened on Tuesday. Fact. Up color BBC. I never finished fixing this the other day. Oh, that's too bright. Okay, down color BBC. So did I fix it? Yeah. So now you can see it's the CFMA1, or as I call it, red and falling, blue and climbing. When you get that bearish cross, right there. First time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. Not every time, but almost always. Same is true of a bullish cross that leads to an extended move. It's powerful knowledge. Use it well. Okay. Now we're inching back up towards the high of the day. Well, not really. There's just so much. It's got to get through the BBC, got to get through the zone, got to get through these highs. Can it happen? Oh, absolutely. Look at this huge rally yesterday afternoon. Actually, it started about 4:30 a.m., about 5 a.m. Eastern yesterday. So but it was coming from a place of strength. Pull back to the BBC, whereas right now we're pulling up to the BBC. So over here we were likely to get support. Here we're likely to get resistance. So careful out there. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call us at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. As a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live training every trading day in an interactive environment in the live training room. You also get one-on-one private mentoring at no additional cost. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. From futures to stocks to crypto to Forex to ETFs. Price flows from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. As a passport holder, you also get the Logic 247 alerts, which help you learn to read the chart and understand what it's telling you. The concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones, and you're able to be in the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you've been on the trial this week, you should have gotten an email already, probably yesterday. Might get another one today, presenting you with an opportunity to become a member. If you take care of that today, we'll make sure you get an invitation to be there tonight. Again, Michael has an appointment. He won't be able to be there, so it'll be a very short workshop tonight. If you have any questions for me, have them ready, okay? And if you have any questions for Michael, just jot them down and ask him tomorrow morning in the live training room. Because tomorrow in the live training room, there's no lesson plan. He'll just be trading, so he'll have plenty of time to answer any questions that you have. Okay. mytradingiq.com. Let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. Getting beyond the guesswork, part 3. Revelation 3:7 says, what he opens, no one can close, and what he closes, no one can open. Here are 2 more ways to know God's will for your life. 1. Providential circumstances. When God is leading, the way will open up for you. When he sends you, he goes before you. That's in John 10:4. Again, his word says, what he opens, no one can close, and what he closes, no one can open. Who opens the right doors? God. Who closes the wrong doors? God. The right doors lead to blessing. The wrong doors lead to pain and loss. Plus, nothing but unbelief can keep a door closed once God commands it to open. The only help God needs from you is this. Exodus 14:13. Don't be afraid. Stand firm and see the Lord's salvation that he will accomplish for you today. Number 2, inner traffic lights. The old timers in the faith would say, I always watch for the checks in my spirit. You're a new creature with a new spiritual nature that's alive unto God, equipped to sense God moving within you. Romans 6:11. And while the counsel of wise and mature Christians can help, the last word must be spoken in your own heart. Philippians 2:13. For it is God who works in you both to will and to do his good pleasure. If your will is surrendered to God, He is at work in you, directing your will and behaviors. Believe it because He declares it. He will give you the red light when He wants you to stop, and the green light when He wants you to go. Don't go on red, don't stop on green. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.